Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Huddle. Paul usually gives his little intro, but he's not here today. He's doing other things. Uh, we're just here to talk about flooring and what we do. Today we got a special guest on. This is Jake from not from State Farm,
No,
from
no,
Federated
Federated.
Insurance. So Jake, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself and what you do and who you do it for?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a Michigan guy my whole life, a Michigander. I'm from like St. Joe area, right on the West Coast. Went to Western Michigan. Now I've been with Federated for a little bit over a year now. We do business insurance for small businesses, so work comp, general liability, property. We're big on risk management. We want to keep your guys getting to the site every day. We don't want them hurt at home, so we help prevent injuries a lot with driving and stuff like that. So really, just here to help out people. It's awesome. Get to hang out with Daniel and Jose here and talk a little bit more about how we can help other people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for being with us today. Um, I know Jose was having some issues. Can we hear you now? Can you hear us? Oh, we can't hear you now. We could hear you before, and then now you can't. Now we can't. So he has technical difficulties like every single week. Oh wait, it says that. Oh, it just said that you were muted, but you probably tried unmuting yourself. I'm gonna remove you again. You can try and add yourself again. Get rid of them for a minute. So today we're just gonna be talking about starting from ground zero. Not only are we having technical difficulties on his end, but Facebook has been horrible to work with lately, and that is not just like this platform, but even when I'm trying to stream videos of baseball and stuff like that, Facebook and pages are just not getting along lately, and I don't understand it.
That's crazy.
But let me see if I can try and turn this one on. See if any of these ones are gonna work. Yeah, Ash said that Instagram is live, so I got that one. At least we're somewhere.
Heck yeah.
So just talking about starting from ground zero, what people can do to start a business. I was just contacted. Well, they posted in a group asking some questions, right? So
Yeah.
it's tax time. All right, I think we got Hoser back, but now it's just really loud, so we're gonna have to mute him anyways. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be on today.
No, he looks a little busy right now.
So with tax time, people that have just started came and were asking questions about just that tax time. What can they do and stuff like that. And it's do you got to pay quarterly? Don't you have to pay quarterly? And I think with it being that time of year, I'm pretty sure. And we always say, talk to an accountant, right? Because that's not what we do. But my accountant told me that once you start paying quarterlies, you always have to pay quarterly. So if you start, you got to keep on going. But if you don't, then you're all right, just paying one lump sum at the end of the year. You guys don't deal with any of that though, right?
No, but
You,
that
you,
sounds I'm pretty much right from what I've heard from other business owners is once you start on the quarterly, then you have to stay on it, and it's over a certain amount is when you start have to start really the government requires you to pay quarterly, but
right.
we don't. That's as
But
much as on the taxes part.
and then I mean the penalties if you don't aren't super huge or anything. So if it's not in the cards for you, just pay at the end of the year. But it is really sad to see that huge chunk of change go out of your account every year.
Definitely.
So how long have you been with Federated?
So I've been with Federated in out in the field talking to customers for about a year now, and then I was in home office for a year learning, and we do a lot of training, looking through policies and stuff like that.
Okay, and so Jake, you're actually our agent, so we appreciate you. I mean, he's came in here a few times and hung out, talked, got us all set up, and I think that Federated does a great job on the visits and getting in here and making sure that everything is set up correctly, better than the previous people that we've used, and I appreciate you guys for that. What do you recommend, for someone that's just starting out or someone that's looking for insurance? What should they be looking for?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I feel like it's kind of crazy. Like I said, I haven't been doing this 40 years or anything like that, but just been noticing, and I've been seeing every day of people that have no idea what's in their policy, which is pretty scary because if something were to happen, we've had a couple fires this week that were $1 million fires in the Midwest. Took out the whole building, and they were left with the video says not even a pencil, not even a piece of paper left, no records kept. All their equipment burned down to the ground, and they pretty much just preach in the whole video of like, hey, make sure you have a plan in place, make sure you have everything covered, everything kind of listed and down. So I would say just really when you start, you don't have a ton of stuff to deal with. Obviously you do, but not as crazy it'll be once you're 10 years into it. So really just kind of focus and make sure that everything you do is really just thought through, and so you're not going to have to do it twice. But when looking for insurance, just make sure you really have a good agent and ask a lot of questions. I love when people ask questions. It makes lets me know that hey, they're trying to figure out what's going on because it's confusing. That's why I went up there for 9 months to learn it. I understand you guys are doing kind of a whole different operation, a whole different flooring's way different than insurance, but just make sure you ask those questions because if I had someone come floor my house, I would have no idea what I'm doing. I'd have to ask a whole bunch
I
of
know,
questions
and
myself.
that's what we say
So
all the time, right? Like a lot of people on the groups, the flooring groups that we're a part of, they always preach like if you don't know how to do it, you shouldn't be doing it. Get a professional. Basically saying I'm a professional, so I should be in there, not you. And I think that's what we have to start looking at. A lot of aspects of the business is hiring a professional because we don't know everything. So
yep.
I'm not gonna try and do the whole insurance realm. That's what we have you for. And I mean, you're handling claims for us right now. I mean, not you personally, but you're the guy that I'm like, hey, this is what's happening, what's going on, and
Yep.
you point me in the direction where I need to go. And it sucks because I mean, I've been without my truck now for like 2 months.
Can you guys hear me now?
We
Yep.
can hear you now, and
Yeah.
I think I finally have at least one feed on Facebook going. So
Let's go.
Gotcha.
welcome back. We were just
Jake,
talking about
sorry about that, bro.
nope, and he's gone just as fast as he got here. That's how I feel like I am when I'm driving too.
Oh, it happens.
Hop in, hop out. And I know a lot of people, are worried about liability insurance and getting themselves covered that way, right? But one thing that always pops up in the groups too is workers' comp. Do people need it? Don't they need it? What's your take on everything?
Yeah, so work comp is, I mean, if they're at a one man, two-man shop and it's the business owners, right? Say it's just you and Jose, you guys are just starting up and it's just you two, you guys wouldn't need work comp because the point of work comp is it's for your employees. So as soon as, I came on there an outside party as that employee, right? And I go and work for you, as soon as I get hurt, you're going to have to pay, legally for my medical bills, for any kind of injuries I get on the job during a job related task, my lost wages. So if I'm out for 3 weeks, you have to pay for some of those lost wages up to a certain percent. Um, but the real thing is as a business owner, it doesn't really benefit you too much because to actually get the benefits of the work comp, you have to work 0 hours a week. So very hard for the boss. But as an employee, that's heck yeah, 0 hours a week, and I'm going to get a portion of my pay. That's a home run for them, right? But for business owners, that's not really possible. And second, if you have a broken leg and you file it on your work comp as a business owner, that's going to count against you for 3 years. So 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand. So that one broken leg is going to cost you $30,000 on losses on your business. Yes, the insurance company is going to pay it out, but they're going to be expecting to try to recoup that over the next couple of years. So it's just not really, your best bet as a business owner. But if you have an employee, there's no other choice but to put it on the business. So as an owner, you want to be on more of a disability policy because it can cover you 365 anywhere in the world, 24/7, and it covers your full paycheck. Where work comp's only going to cover about 80% of your paycheck. So
Now, as
it's kind
far
of
as disability, is there just one type of disability that you recommend, or is there multiple types?
Yeah, so there's really depends on kind of your budget and how much really your health also, right? That's the harder one to qualify for, but there's a 1 in 4 chance of becoming disabled, which is kind of frightening. So it's definitely harder to qualify for. And then there's a 2 year benefit. You can do up to a 5 year benefit or to age 67. So if you were to get hurt, they're willing to pay your whatever salary you protect with the disability policy. Let's say 50 grand, they're willing to pay you that 50 grand after taxes. So maybe it's like 35, 36. They're willing to pay that for 5 years. And that allows you to not have to pull from the business, not have to go and get a second job, not have to have the spouse work because you're still getting that same income while you're down.
Now, with
And
with the disability, does that cover even if you're doing office work and stuff like that to keep the business running, or do you have to stop working altogether? How does that work? Do you know?
yeah, so you can still work. There's obviously an hour. They don't want you to be, working full time, 50 hours a week and collecting the disability. But I've had a, business owner, for example, in town that he was a contractor. He would come in the morning and he would just kind of get his crew out there, get his fleet out there, and then he would go home around 10 or 11 o'clock, which they had no problem with. But he wasn't out there running the same. He couldn't. He had cancer. He wasn't able to do it if he wanted to. So it's those kind of situations. Broken legs, arms. We know you're going to be in there. There's not really a problem with that. It's more of the ones that are going to take you down: the strokes, the cancers. Um, you'd be able to still go and work for a couple hours.
Okay, and since we're on the top of insurance, we have one of our partners is actually Floor Cloud, and there's no better insurance than to get them on your job sites and make sure that everything is going right. So we're gonna have a video here of Floor Cloud.
Enables real-time monitoring of your job site conditions via desktop or mobile device. No more manual checking for temperature, humidity, or even dew point. No need for base stations, Wi-Fi, or external power sources. Simply scan the QR code on the front of your sensors and you're up and running with the most accurate and innovative site monitoring system in the flooring industry. Dispatch your crews with confidence and reduce your climate-related installation issues. Floor Cloud, now you know.
Now you know because you had no idea about Floor Cloud until right now, and there ain't no better insurance than keeping everything on your job site monitored, so that way if there's anything happening, you're on top of things.
Seems like it'd be awesome.
It is awesome. If my brother was over on his side, he has a Floor Cloud box hanging up because we just got some of their units and can't wait to put them on some job sites.
No, definitely. That'll be cool.
So I know with us, we have disability insurance and we have
Life insurance.
disability and life. Yeah. So I know there's multiple different life insurances as well, but
Yep.
I think that's probably its own full podcast on that subject, isn't it?
Yeah, that's definitely a full onion, but a lot of good stuff. Just kind of, I would say, see what you can qualify for and start somewhere. It doesn't have to be enough to, build a Taj Mahal, but it's always nice to have something in place and you can always move it later. But yeah, it's definitely a necessity for sure. Like I'm not an older guy and I have it. Everyone should have it, but I would say as a business owner, definitely you need to have your liability and at least probably some coverage for your tools. I mean, that might not be really depends on what you can all float. If everything starts going how you want it, you obviously add on more coverages, because you're going to have more exposures. But definitely to start, you need to have general liability and I would say a commercial umbrella.
Right, because I mean, we started with just the the liability. We did have workers' comp like from the get go, because well, probably about a year in, as soon as we started hiring people, we got
Yep.
it, right away. And then it wasn't until later on where we started working with the contractors where they require the umbrella is when we got the umbrella. And now we're actually working through right now. I just got an email from you, I think earlier today, was talking about a $3 million umbrella policy, which I mean, that's a little excessive because everyone around here doesn't require that. But we're working with a contractor out of New York and they're like, they want to see that $3 million policy. And it's just like, man, it's not in the cards for these small projects.
100%. That's
And
you've said it multiple times. It all depends on kind of what stage you're at and if it makes sense. That's a big part of it.
right, just, you can start adding things on as you go. Like, I don't need an umbrella policy, but if I'm going to work with this person, I'm 100% going to need it. So until you start working with that person, until it's required, right? It, it's
100%.
n- it's not really worth getting. But insurance is one of those huge topics where people think that it's just not necessary until something happens.
Yep.
Then it's like, why didn't I have it? I mean, one of our employees before our ride on floor demo machine, I mean, it's like, I don't even know what they are brand new now. I think we paid like $35,000 for it. And he was bringing it down a ramp, and the ramp wasn't secured or something, ended up falling off the side. And it's just stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what that bill was, but I know all we had to pay was the deductible on it. I don't even want to see what a bill like that was. I'm pretty sure they had to rebuild it from everything.
Wow. That is scary. No, it's that you said it right. It's the craziest part is we talk to people all the time that have done it for 40 years and have never had a loss, and they have the worst policy because they've never tested the safety net. And then the people that have had a fire or they've had a bad accident, their policies are beefed all the way up because they've lived that moment. They don't want to feel that worst moment again of, dang, for two more grand, I wouldn't be feeling like this right now.
Right. For 2 more grand, it could have saved me 120 or something like that.
Yeah, or you
And I
could still
mean,
be in business. It's like
yeah,
the hard stuff.
and the guy that, dumped that machine, thankfully, he didn't get hurt, but if he did, that workers' comp policy, that's where that would have kicked in, and it would have, had us covered. But, I'm glad that he didn't get hurt. You never want to see anyone hurt, regardless of what insurance you have. Insurance is one of those things that you want it there, but you don't ever want to use it.
Yep, 100%. That's the hard part of trying to find new clients is you're trying to sell them something that hopefully they'll never use. It's like, no, I hope you don't have a fire, but in case you do, but it's
Right. I think speaking about fires, I mean, when our landlord's insurance guy came in here, he was inspecting all of our fire extinguishers and everything, and he's like, "Hey, this one's got to be trashed and stuff like that." And it's like, that's why it's in that pile and not hanging up on the wall. But they
Yep.
don't even want to see it in the building, basically.
Yeah. Fires are bad right now. I heard a stat today, and it's 1 in 4 businesses don't come back after a fire. So
I mean,
that's
I
crazy.
mean, you're not too. You live in Grand Rapids now?
I live in Wyoming. Yeah.
Okay, so Grand Rapids Brewing Company, they had a fire in their kitchen, and they just decided, yeah, we're not even gonna reopen after this.
Dang. Yeah, it's happening. We had, like I said, $3 million ones in this area, and it's the crazy part is everyone says it's not going to be me. I'm good. I have a brick building, and then something happens. A lot of times it's oily rags. That's our number one right now, or bad electrical circuits, overloading, things that you have an old building. Now they've put more power on the transmitters that go to all the different buildings, and it zaps your building and it fries everything, um, which is just scary because you can't really do much besides rewire it for 25 grand. Um, Depending on the size of the project, but it's definitely something just to have a good plan, like you said, having fire extinguishers, having a plan in place of what happens, what do we do, and as a federated client, you will get a walkthrough and a fire safety checklist and all that kind of stuff to make sure, because we don't want you having a fire either. If you go out of business, we can't insure you, so that's just in our best interest to keep it going too. So we don't want anything like that happening.
Yeah, we got to make money so that way we can pay you guys money, right?
Exactly.
We were talking about workers' comp, right, and then hiring employees, and when you're starting from ground zero, that is 100% hard to do, especially when you don't know about it. And I think it was a couple weeks ago we had a podcast that was about that, right? Hiring employees and putting them on payroll, and how kind of easy it is once you get your head wrapped around it. And then once you do get employees, their your workers comp policy does have tools in place in order to not only protect them, from working, but I mean, you guys have the toolbox talks, the 7-minute safety trainer. We
Yep.
have GPS units in our vans, keeping track of the guys and stuff like that. Can you kind of give us a rundown on what you guys offer there, so that way people can know that you guys aren't just that insurance policy, you guys actually offer more benefits than just something written down on paper saying that the company you're working for is protected.
No, yeah, that's huge right now because you've been seeing a lot of agencies kind of getting bought out, and they're saying, hey, if your premium's under a certain amount, we're just going to send everything in the mail, which is scary because that means you're getting no service at all. Like they're getting 20%, 30% increases and with no explanation. We're kind of doing the opposite. We see our clients 4 times a year if they allow us. We obviously understand you guys got busy schedules, but we see it. And I just did a meeting the other day with a HVAC guy in town and sat down as 15 employees. We went through a driving safety, so watching speeding, harsh braking, turning, and just making sure like, hey, they get to the job site safe. And they were all really receptive to it. They took a little quiz at the end, so kind of read through it all. They take a quiz, they sign on it, so then it all goes in a database system online where now it's tracked where it says, hey, Jake took this quiz. So next time I'm going 50 miles over the speed limit doing harsh turns, it's going to say, hey, we told Jake not to do that, and he signed right here. So it's really a nice CYA also. And then the little trackers that he was talking about, they just monitor this. They don't monitor the location, but they monitor, like I said, the harsh braking, the speeding, the turning, and then it gives them a score at the end. So say Jose right now is on his phone and driving, it would dock him for that and give him like, an 80 when he got home. And
I'm parked,
that
brother. I'm parked now.
and
Now,
that would go on like a listing of all the different kinds of people that are driving at the organization, right? So the 10 employees, and then we usually say, hey, do a monthly or every 2 month prize. So, hey, this is the best driver, and not to focus on the 5 bottom drivers, but focus on the top 5 and say, hey, you should get better like Jerry, or hey, you want everyone fighting to be the top drivers, not hey, we're the worst 5. That's cool. So that's our second biggest claim is auto. So it's been huge to help clients just kind of slow down their team because a lot of them have been driving for years, but it's just those kind of constant reminders of, hey, let's all get there safe. Let's all get home safe, which is nice and really unique to Federated.
yeah, and since we started with that, the guys have like when we first were talking about it, it kind of becomes a competition. It's like my score was better than yours this week, and when someone's isn't better, he's like, yeah, but I have this many more miles than you. It's because and it's getting to that point where it's a talking point in the Monday meetings for us.
Definitely. And they all want to be the best. They don't want to, be at the bottom of the chart. And all that does is keep lower auto claims, keeps your premium down and gets them there safe. So it's only a win-win-win. It's just getting them over that first leap of doing it in the first place, which, is
Right.
my job, which is the fun part.
And that's one thing that people need to realize, right? It's insurance is also there in these programs to protect you as a business. Not only are you, teaching the employees, the right ways to do things, but that is a safety net for you to say, hey, we've already gone through this. He signed off on it, and it protects you as a business.
Definitely, because put yourself in the courtroom of if you didn't sign off on it and you didn't do that training, and they're saying, hey, Daniel, what was the last training you told them about driving? Oh, we had a Monday talk. Okay, where's it on paper? Oh, it's not on
Right.
paper. What did you guys talk about? Oh, it's, in a filing cabinet. You can go in there with the paper signed that he got an 8 out of 9, 9 out of 10 on his quiz, and he passed it and he signed it on this date, and it's all kept online. So you don't even have to keep paper track. And it's just a really nice way to defend yourself in there. So as that business owner, you can walk out of there and not have this finger pointed at you, because as soon as they know you're the owner, they think, oh, he's got the most money, we're going for it all. And then that's when they get right. That's the scary part.
That misconception that business owners have all the money when we pay all the money. All the money just passes through our hands.
Yeah, you're the ones providing money for everyone else. So but we definitely heard of that, of like, hey, they got $1 zillion in their pocket, but you're just out here working too.
No.
I miss so much of it, guys. I'm just like the dude in the background right now, like the hype person.
Just ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
No, we covered quite a bit now. I did have someone asking a question on Instagram, but I don't know if they're still live or not. So if they chime back in, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But I mean, these programs are great, man. Like I I didn't realize how much was included until Federated, because the other agents that we used didn't go too in depth on everything that was included. And sometimes, I mean, you get agents that they're pulling from every which way, right? Like, this is a better rate, so this is who you're going to get. So they
Yeah.
may not know. And I think that's one of the reasons why we went with Federated, is because you guys were just so involved in everything. Like, no, we may not run this program, but I can tell you about it, and I can point you to the person that can give you the entire rundown. So we appreciate that for sure.
Definitely. No, it's
Well, I
kind of
think
the
this is
cool
the
part.
first program that we've come across that felt like it was actually customized for our industry, right? And I don't know if you said that yet or not, Daniel, but I do remember those conversations, and not knowing that was available for us through our affiliations with FCICA. Shame on us for not doing our research, but I do remember. I do remember having those conversations, like, oh wait, yeah, that's exactly what we need. Yeah, that makes it so much easier. That is, and not to knock the other agents that we worked with, because I've been with, and I'm still currently with them. I've been with them since I was 18 years old for the auto, at least, and it just, they weren't able to customize. They just shot in the dark. They were what do they call it?
A broker.
A broker. Yeah, they were an insurance broker, right? So they just kind of shopped around for what the best price was for what we needed, as long as it was within the parameters that we requested. But what is the gentleman that we signed up with? What's his name? Jordan, right? We're ready to work for you.
Yeah, he was persistent. He was
Yeah, he was.
he was in here, man. But
No, it does.
I mean,
It does take it, but I feel like hopefully you guys are seeing the benefits of that decision now. We're definitely set up different. We're a direct writer, so we work directly for Federated. I don't go and shop markets. I don't have 10 choices. I have one choice. So I know that choice, inside and out. And, I'm able to offer everything, in that package, like you're saying, built right for you. So it really allows us to be fully transparent. I'm not saying, hey, I found a better one over here. It's cheaper. Because that's usually what happens.
it's cheaper, but this isn't included. They don't really tell you that either.
Yeah, they usually miss that part.
Yeah,
Which
all
is
inclusive is way better, and cheaper isn't always the best way to go. There's going to be something missing at some point. Can't send a change order into your insurance guy.
And it worked out that you were able to come on here, because not only are we with Federated, but Paul, he's missing today, but his companies are also with Federated. So
That's awesome.
time to,
Is he around the area?
yeah. What's that?
That's cool. Is he from the area?
No, he's from Kansas, Wichita, Kansas. So
Small,
you guys
small
are
world,
everywhere.
bro.
Now, as far as you've never ran your own business or anything, though, right?
So I actually ran my own painting company. I was a contractor for 2 years from the ground up. So I know exactly what you guys are talking about. All I had was work comp and 3 guys in a truck. So I definitely get it. Get the grind, the hustle. That's what I'm saying. Start off with just $1 million general liability and work comp once you get some guys, and that'll just go based off your payroll.
So you were right in there in the beginning stages too. But I'll let him ask his question.
So I have a question. Is there a different approach to gentlemen or companies or individuals that are primarily residential versus commercial? Do you gauge what your needs are based off of the clientele you have? Commercial, residential, high end, multifamily. Like, how does that get approached from your standpoint, and how do you direct clients?
Yeah, so we did mostly residential, so that would be just a lot of door knocking, which is always fun. And then commercial ones, it was a little bit harder just because we were so new and they were bigger buildings and we didn't really have all the equipment and all the kind of cash flow to go buy all this equipment to start, all the materials to start. So I would say we mostly did residential and stuff, like the painting.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was referring more to leading your clients coverage wise, based off of their niche. What industry of the flooring, or what part of the flooring industry are they in? That's where I was going. Residential versus commercial.
I don't think there's a difference in whether you're residential or commercial. It's just a difference once you start getting into like tile setting and stuff like that. I think there's different coverages or something.
Yeah, for insurance, there's not going to be much different. Pretty much is all going to fall under the flooring, but there might be specific exposures that you have. Like, hey, we bring a lot of fuel on the site because we use heavy equipment for our flooring, or it's really going to depend on kind of all the different variables of what they have, which just comes down to like asking the questions. Residential people are probably going to have less property because they're going to probably keep it at their house, not have as big of an operation. Where commercial, they're going to have a lot of equipment, so maybe have a little more property coverage, maybe more employees because they're doing bigger buildings. So yeah, it's really going to probably depend on, but I would say it's definitely harder to find residential contractors for insurance because they're out of their house most of the time. Where commercial is going to be out of like bigger buildings, but just the only way is just to keep going and try to find them. It's like hunting or fishing.
Gotcha. And I will say to everybody, one thing that we learned is if you're a commercial outfit or even residential, and as you start growing, document everything that you have. Document your purchase price.
Yeah, that's
Document.
one of the questions on Facebook. I just had to check on my phone because the feed's not coming through because Facebook is being janky lately. But they said tools. Let's talk tools. So
Yeah.
can you give us a rundown on what should people be keeping track of from day one? Right, like I bought this. Is it covered? Is it not? How can we keep track of it to make sure that way if anything happens, I I don't have to go and purchase all these tools again.
Yeah, so what I've seen, I kind of talk on both sides of the coin from other policies, right? Deal with a lot of landscapers, kind of flooring, anything under 10 grand. Most companies make you schedule. So I've seen it all the way up to like 150 bucks, 200 bucks. So that's your drill, that's your saw, right? That's some pretty light tools. And then anything over 10,000, they obviously schedule too. So pretty much every inch of it. We're federated. Our main book is contractors, so we know you guys have a lot of stuff under 10 grand, and it's really not worth putting every little piece of inch on it. Like I've seen 4 or 5 pages of tools before, and I'm like, does this get annoying every year? Every time you get a new drill, like this is, it's a lot of work here. And what the big part is with federated, we only schedule things over 10 grand, and then we put a limit on anything under it. So the nice part about that is you don't really have to. We want you to keep a track of it so it's easier to go remember what you bought, but you don't have to show a receipt for every inch of it, which for a fire example or a big trailer, example stolen on a job site, it's really nice to not know, oh, I got to go find all my receipts. Oh, I hope I remember where I put that one. Because most companies with insurance, not a huge fan of the industry like federated, but they don't want to pay out, right? That's kind of the insurance scheme where it's like, hey, insurance isn't good. They don't want to pay.
Might want to retract that terminology there, brother.
Yeah. But the cool part about federated is we want to pay you out. So we say, hey, anything under 10 grand, we got you covered. We'll put it all under a blanket limit, and then anything over 10 grand. So your skid loaders, your heavy equipment, maybe some tools, we'll schedule and actually put it on the policy. So it'll say, hey, these are your 10 vehicles, or these are your 10 pieces of equipment. But if you have a smaller policy.
Does that apply to, like, say we have a trailer full of tools and collectively they value more than 20 grand on a trailer at one time because they're part of a system, right? Like individually purchased, it's one price, but together because they're part of a system that we have to implement and they're used in conjunction with one another. Does that change the perception of that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like it'd be scheduled as one then, just to make it easier. But are you talking like a scaffolding or something like that? Or
no, I'm saying like if we were polishing concrete and I would have my grinder, my vacuum, and then the heads, the generator, like this is all, I need all of this to do this one task.
No, that would all fall underneath the $10,000 limit, under the blanket limit.
Okay. And then there is a difference between tools that travel versus tools that stay, that are stationary.
Yep. Yes, you'll have a transportation floater, which is anytime it's transporting to job site or to back to the shop, and then you'll actually have a job limit. So you'll have how much you could lose on one job if you had all the materials, all the labor at it. So there's multiple buckets. I don't want to confuse anyone that doesn't know a ton about insurance, but there's multiple buckets of where it all kind of falls.
That's what we're here to do, brother. We're here to confuse people so they ask questions, right? So that way they can hopefully get answers. So we can hopefully get answers.
It's all I think that's one of the things, though, is people have to not be scared to ask those questions, right? Because, I
100%.
mean, when you were in here, I mean, the first time you came in, you were probably here for a few hours, and it's like, what do we need to let you know? What information can we get from you so that way we can keep track better and stuff like that? And I mean,
Mhm.
we walked the warehouse. What is this? What is that?
Yep.
It was great because I learned more about insurance when you guys were here than in the. I mean, we've been with you guys for what, 2 years now, 3 years,
3 years
than
almost.
the 11 years prior to you guys.
Yeah. Which I 100% believe because it's
So
just great.
the question from Instagram was, how can they improve their insurance, which kind of gets back to what you and Jose were talking about, like trying to figure out actually what do you actually need, and do you have anything that is too much, right? I don't know if there's a such thing as that. I mean, unless you're paying a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
And
We don't
then
want you to
so
be insurance poor.
right. So is he spending too much or not enough? And then the other question to that was like the buckets. How do I know if my grinder and shop vac is covered? I think that's that $10,000 limit, right? So if it's a tool that you purchase that's under 10,000, it's covered up to a certain amount. Is that
Yep.
what you were saying?
Yep. And that would be with
And
federal though. And I've seen, like I was before that, I said there was a bunch of policies. Every other policy I've seen from the competitors, they have them individually scheduled out. But a tool that small, my guess is it's going to fall under a blanket limit like your contents. Um,
Yeah.
but they're going to probably want, I've never seen anyone file a claim for it because, again, you don't really want to file claims. Kind of to answer your whole question, there's like nuisances claims, which are like small claims, windshields, right? Someone, you lose your shop vac. And then there's the top, there's catastrophic. So that means, hey, the building burns down. Hey, we hit someone driving home. Hey, one of my guys takes the truck home and wrecks it, right? Those are the claims that can put you all the way out of business, right? Harassment.
or like, hey, this gas station had bad gas and now my truck
Oh,
won't start.
See, that's more of a setback though, because you're still going, right? But if it like your truck blew up there, that'd be catastrophic, right?
Well, my truck isn't working right now, so
But no, we'll get that figured out.
man. Poor truck. That's a brand new truck. Wow.
it
Everything's
was
brand
brand
new.
new. It
Everything's
only
brand new
has
to me
70
when it's less than.
70,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's new.
I have more of a scenario, right? Like, you were just talking about the equipment and the vacuums. What is there a change in responsibility if you are on a job site and you are storing your tools on a job site, and then something happens within that job site, or is that something that is covered for us as well? If I leave, well, I just use the grinder and the vacuum. If I leave my equipment inside of a project, a job site where it's supposed to be locked up and secure, and then something happens, it gets stolen. Um, is that something that is covered by our insurance, or is that covered by the property insurance, or
No,
should it be covered by the property insurance? I should say.
no, that's a great question. I actually ran into it yesterday with an HVAC contractor that's working downtown Grand Rapids. Someone came in and cleaned out everyone besides their trades because they had it in a big lock trailer, took all of their equipment, and the contractors were really mad, and so they tried to
Oh
get
yeah,
money from the project, right? And the people that had the project that paid them to do the work pulled out the contract and said, hey, anything that, kind of like when you go to the gym, if you lose your headphones, it's on you. It was the same
yeah.
thing. It was, hey, if anything happens here, it's on you. So good news is you would have insurance for that under your policy, but the bad news is
Okay,
you would have to actually take that loss and pay the deductible. They're kind of just washing their hands with, and they're saying, hey, we told you, you signed here. And that's in the huge document that, they give you to
Right.
sign.
yeah, the master
After they
contract
say
and to
they're
be
going to pay
covered.
you.
Yeah.
Once they say, hey, we're
Okay.
going to pay you, you're
See,
not reading
and, and,
anymore.
and, and this is all stuff like, I just read through some of those lines the other day on one of the contracts, and it is and people are always deferring responsibility back onto you as an individual, or you as a company. And I think that's where just knowing that information, knowing that that's what you're going to be put up against, can hopefully let some individual prepare themselves better for the real world. The real world, nobody wants to take responsibility for lost, stolen, or broken items. So just make sure that you're covered, or understand that there are some things that you will just take a loss on. That's the hard truth for sure.
Well, yeah, that's I guess something that is always on someone's mind. What should I claim and what shouldn't I claim, right? You were
Yeah.
talking about like a nuisance claim when it's just like, man, this is a $200 vacuum. Just go buy another one, right?
Yep.
As opposed to if it's a grinder combo vac, which, a grinder can cost, 18 to $30,000 plus the vacuum can cost, five to $20,000. We're talking about is it and it sucks, right? Because we're talking about starting from ground zero. So some of these newer companies, if they lose that, you know, $2,000-3,000 worth of equipment, that could set them back far enough to where, hey, I can't even do anything anymore. But is it at that point, is it still worth it to make a claim, or is it like not worth it?
Yeah, no. So we'll kind of work that one backwards. Definitely. That's what insurance is for. It's for when you have no other options, you can't pay it, right? That's when you put it on your insurance. So if they had that big grinder and shop vac stolen, that was definitely a claim. And if it was going to put them out of business, that's what you use your insurance for. Obviously, it's going to hurt you in a year or two with the losses, but it'll keep you in business. But for the smaller stuff, like say your truck will kind of work it backwards. That hurts. That sucks. It's nothing small, but it's, hey, we're going to survive. We can always get another truck. And if you take it down even smaller, right, to a nuisance, it's like, hey, I got a windshield. I'm just going to pay it. So I would say pay it anytime you can. And if you can't pay it, or if you do pay it and it's going to really, really hurt the business, then use the insurance. But as an insurance agent, we don't like seeing the windshields, the small stuff, just because we know it. They see that, and our underwriters see that, who pick all the prices, and they don't like it because they want you to take on a little bit of the risk too. And if you do, that you get favorable pricing for sure, because they understand that,
Yeah.
hey, you want to obviously reduce claims because you're going to cover some of them. Where instead of you filing little claims, they're like, dang, even a windshield, they're going to file on us. But obviously, moral of the story is if you can pay it, pay it. If it's too big to pay it and it's going to really hurt your business, then use your insurance. That's
And
what
I
it's for.
and 100% ask your insurance agent, right? Because if I texted you and was like, "Hey, man, we got a windshield. Is it better if I just do this or?" Oh, who clicked on that? My brother
Oh,
probably.
me.
Or should I just, pay it out of pocket, and you'll be truthful and be like, it's just gonna cost this much, man, and just pay it out of pocket. And that's happened before with when we were on a different insurance, and it was like, man, and it was when we were fairly new, and it was, a Sprinter windshield, so we were like, man, this is gonna cost so much, and it was, I think it ended up being like $480, and it's like,
Dang.
at the end of the day, that's not that bad, right? Could have
Yep.
been worse.
And
I think
since my bad, just before you say anything, if it's like a work comp claim when someone's hurt, definitely take them to the hospital. We're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about, obviously the windshield and stuff like that.
that's what I was going to say. I think uh, having insurance from a young age, right? Like being responsible for myself, you kind of start picking and choosing what is worth the claim and what isn't worth the claim. Like, because the more, it's like anybody else, you nickel and dime your insurance company, your rates are going to go up, right? They have to make up for that increase in liability that you're providing, or that you are costing them, not providing them, but costing them. So I guess, long story short, it's something you come out of pocket, come out of pocket. Protect yourself long term wise from pricing, potential price increases on your insurance. Use
Right?
it
Because even with my
as
truck,
needed.
right, I was just taking it to the mechanic like, I need to get this fixed. And then it wasn't until they were like, you should probably contact your insurance, when I was like, oh, might be something that needs to be, more investigated, that I don't have time for it, but you guys have a team dedicated to that kind of stuff. And, they were asking me questions about it, like, hey, where'd you get it? What time were you there? And all that stuff. So it's like, I'll give them the information and they'll do whatever they have to do with it. And I know it wasn't anything that I did.
Definitely. And if the
You
big
didn't
part
pump the
about it is
gas.
filing a
You didn't pump
test.
the fuel. You pumped the fuel, bro. I'm just saying. Sorry, that's it. I just wanted to butt in with that.
So when you started your painting business, did you start as a sole proprietor? How did you start that out?
Yeah, so it was actually it was in college. It was kind of like a LLC. internship deal where we all had to file our own. And then they pretty much taught me the ropes. They've been doing it for like 25 years. It's called College Works Painting. But they teach you all how to hire, how to do the interviews. You're actually sitting in, I went from knocking on the doors to sitting in their kitchen table, with both spouses at the table trying to close the deal to, I did $125,000 in revenue my first year and had 4 employees who actually had to be on the site every day with, to-do list and everything ready to go before they got there, give them their tools, give them their 10 things they got to get done in 10 hours and then, manage it the whole time. And I usually help too, just to get some of the labor down to obviously make some more profit. But I don't know where that question was going to, but yeah, it was LLC.
Now I'm more interested in the program that you just said.
Right? That's why I was asking, because a lot of guys, they'll start out as like a sole prop or something like that, and then think that the whole LLC thing is just too intimidating because, one, you're starting off. A lot of people in the trades are starting off with no money in their pocket, so you're trying to keep the cost down as much as you can. But if you do file an LLC, you can do it yourself. You don't have to hire someone to do it, and it's just, what does the state charge, like $25 or something to fax something in?
Yep.
So it's just a matter of, getting in your paperwork and stuff like that. That way, once you get your LLC, get your federal identification number, that way you can go open a bank account. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people do wrong, is trying to run a business out of their personal bank account.
Oh, yeah, don't do that, guys. Please don't do that. Protect yourself. Don't do that.
So it's kind of like, get all this stuff set up, get with a great insurance, agent, so that way you can get yourself protected. And it does suck because business costs money. There's no way around it. But once you're all set up, the same thing like we talked about with payroll a few weeks ago. It's once you get everything set up, it's pretty much just runs on autopilot, and all you got to do is keep on maintaining, right? And that's where your agent comes in. Ask them questions, see what you can do, but it's just getting that LLC set up at least, so that way you're protected. And then, us as a business, we are an LLC, but we're taxed as an S corp, which is a whole nother thing. Definitely get an accountant. There's plenty of accountants out there that don't charge much. Like we're fortunate enough to have an accountant where I ask him questions and stuff, and he hasn't been charging me for asking him all the questions, but that could change at any moment. But he's the one that set us in the path of the S corp. We're employees of our business now. We're owner operators. We're paid on a W-2, just like our employees. And then, man, once you get set up, start making money before you start thinking about benefits or anything, because it's tough out there. And I don't even know if Federated does offer any benefits packages.
Yes, we do actually, and they're super popular right now. Just with not like a group health, but we have what's called like a key man program, which puts life insurance on one of your key employees, and you can do disability. So if they were to get hurt, you're going to be covering their life insurance and their disability to keep them. You have a really good guy, he's running the crew. He's the third man or third woman, and if she were to not come into work, it would really be a problem for the business. You can have life insurance on her, say $100,000, and $50,000 will go to her. Or you obviously pick the allocation. You guys come up to an agreement, but $50,000 goes to her, $50,000 goes to you. So her family now can, have a little bit more, be a little more easier time, now that their spouse just passed away. And then you guys have that $50,000 to either hire somebody new, or while, you're trying to find somebody new to kind of fill that gap that she left. And then with disability, it's, hey, how long do you want to pay this person if they're out? If they're out a year or two, are you going to feel bad if you don't pay them? You obviously want to have them come back. So that kind of will allow it to pay out of that policy, pay through the insurance instead of paying out of your guys' pocket. So those are two big benefits that, as a Federated employee, I have on myself. Federated puts that on us to keep us here. So they're doing it to us. I've been huge with our contractors, huge with our machine shops, because, saw someone yesterday, was trying to go in there to find the boss, like just like when I come into your guys' place, and they said, oh, he's on the job site. We had 2 people quit yesterday. They got poached from somewhere else. So it's happening and it's real. And they probably got poached for like $2, which would just suck, to have, one of your best people leave for a couple bucks more an hour when,
Yeah. And, that's that's a whole nother podcast too, is talking about, people leaving for pennies on the dollar, and then you don't realize until later, like, yeah, I probably had it pretty good over there, but
yep,
hey,
the grass is always greener somewhere else, right?
it is. But that's life, man. You live and you learn. So yeah, I don't know if we even talked about those policies before, but
I don't
we,
think
we
we've got
may
into
have. But my thing is that if you are looking into disability and stuff, do it when you are younger and you're not gonna have like issues, because once you start getting older and then it just takes one thing when they're like, oh yeah, you had this, so it's not gonna happen right now. Like I myself had bariatric surgery, right? So that's one reason why the disability and the life weren't going to cover us, because I think they said that we have to be like 3 or 4 years out of bariatric surgery to get out of that. All right, you're not going to end up kicking the bucket from this surgery, so we'll cover you now.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
all
it's
it takes
hard
is,
to qualify.
something like that for them to not qualify. And that's why it's insurance, right? You're paying for it now, so that way later on, when you're like me, you don't have to worry about it.
100%. Yeah. Actually, one of my teammates texted me today. He was on his way home and saw a gas station, saw one of his old clients' cars, pulled in, was talking to him. And the person just kind of started the conversation with, hey, I'm sorry we didn't move forward with the option last year. We didn't think we needed it at the time. And now his wife has leukemia. And now they said no to it. And now they have no money coming in here. And it's a bad time for him. And it's just one of those situations where he just texted it out to the group like, hey, make sure you push on it. This does change people's lives. Because, you
Right.
never want it to be you, but it's 1 in 4 chance of being you, which is scary. And then life insurance is 1 in 7. So it's not the best odds.
Hey, that's why we're on here talking, just letting people know, get these things set up early. It's maybe not right when you start, but as soon as you find a little bit of cushion, start implementing these things one at a time, so that way when something is needed, it's there. I
Definitely. And the
wonder,
coolest, they're so customizable too. That's the coolest part, is to start with $50, $100 a month, and whatever you spend on the weekends, and you'll have something in place, which is really cool. You don't have to spend a bunch of money to get the starting one.
should do is you guys should start implementing like trade specific insurance, like how MLB, the pitchers can have insurance on their arm. I should
Hmm.
be able to insure my knees.
We can do that through another company, actually. We can
Oh,
insure
so
like
it's a
vocal
thing.
cords. It is a thing.
Man, you guys got to get on that. These young guys, man, because we always say you only got so many miles on your knees and then you're done.
Yeah, when you got the pads on all day, and I'm down there.
And then one of the other things, before we wrap this up, we're about at the end right here, is don't be scared to reach out, man. Communication is key, and we talk about communication a lot. And just ask questions, whether it's to us. You can always reach out to us at the Huddle. I'm sure we'll get to your information, Jake. I'm sure they can reach out to you, and you can point them in the direction of maybe their local agent or something. But that's what the network is for, man. It's ask questions. If I don't know it, I'll point you to someone that can help you. And don't be scared to ask questions, because there's too many people out there that will die on their what they need to do, because it's like, I'm not asking anyone for help. Man, we're a community. We're here for everyone, and we appreciate everyone that listens. So if you are listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us, and tell us that you do like us, or that you don't. That's fine too. Constructive criticism, or just criticism in general, man. We want to hear it all. We want to hear what people like and what people don't like. So we're going to wrap this up, Jake. I appreciate you for being on here. My brother, was on here for a little bit, but that's what the Huddle is, man. We're here as a community to help everyone out. So just, go let them know again where you're from and how they can get a hold of you, or just your company in general if you don't want them pointed in your direction.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here today. This is awesome. Definitely the highlight of the week. I'm from Federated Insurance. I live in Grand Rapids here. You can, if you search Federated Insurance, you'll be able to get all my information from that. There's definitely a local agent in your hometown, but if you want to just look through your policy, want to figure out, hey, is there something in here that's not right? Your premium should be going up a little bit every year. If they're going down, there's something going on. But just, yeah, Federated Insurance.
I'm still trying to convince you to have ours go down. I think that's a conversation every time we talk.
But you're doing great with the drive safe. You got a bunch of implementations, right? You want to do more safety training. Those are ways that we can get your premium down compared to just saying like, oh, screw that, I'll be fine myself. Then it's really hard to fight for it, at renewal
Yeah,
time.
I think the last, because you guys do the 7 minute, which is a different thing than the videos, because you guys actually will have videos and stuff too. So I'll kind of implement both of them at the same time. And the last one we did was back safety, and the guys were like, man, we kind of really needed this refresher. And you don't realize it because you're just, going doing the same thing every day. But it's like, yeah, I'm going to start taking better care of my back.
100%. Yeah, you only got one back, right?
Got to take care of it. Well,
100%.
thanks, Jake. And I appreciate it. And I'm sure you'll be in here soon. I think our renewals in a few months. So
Yeah, we'll be in there soon, definitely.
all right.
Appreciate it. See you soon.
Yeah, thanks guys again, and we'll see you next